Hey, hi guys. In today's lesson, we're going to see some vocabulary words in Spanish about kitchen stuff in Spanish. Okay, this is part 2. So let's start. All right, so this is the first word, okay? If you want to say cooking pot, in Spanish you have to say olla. Olla. Okay, this means cooking pot. Olla. Now the next word we have it's olla express, which means express pot, okay? Olla express. Olla express. Now to say frying pan, in Spanish you have to say sartén. Sartén. Okay, with an accent in letter E. The next word we have it's saucepan or casserole. Okay, to say this, in Spanish you have to say cacerola. Cacerola. Now the next word we have is chopsticks. Okay, to say chopsticks, in Spanish you have to say palillos. Palillos. Now to say grater, in Spanish you have to say rallador. Rallador. Now if you want to say plates, in Spanish you have to say platos. Platos. Okay, if you're talking about plural, a lot of plates, you have to say platos. Okay, now if you want to talk about only one plate, then you have to remove the S and you just have to say plato. Okay, one plato. More than one, platos. Now if you want to say salad bowl, in Spanish you have to say ensaladera. Ensaladera. Okay, this means salad bowl. Now if you want to say blender, in Spanish you have to say licuadora. Licuadora. Now if you want to say food processor, in Spanish you have to say procesadora de alimentos. Procesadora de alimentos. If you want to say orange juicer, in Spanish you have to say exprimidor de naranja. Exprimidor de naranja. If you want to say coffee maker, in Spanish you have to say cafetera. Cafetera. Now if you want to say mixer, in Spanish you have to say batidora. Batidora. To say microwave oven, in Spanish you have to say MICROONDAS. Microondas. Okay, and also you can use a contraction. As in English, you say microwave. You don't always say microwave oven. Also in Spanish, you also can say only micro. Micro. Okay, this is like contraction. Now, if you want to say toaster, in Spanish you have to say tostadora. Tostadora. In English you say stove. In Spanish you have to say estufa. Estufa. All right, the next vocabulary word we have is extractor hood, okay? So if you want to say extractor hood in Spanish, you have to say campana extractora. Campana extractora. Now, if you want to say cupboard in Spanish, you have to say alacena. Alacena. Now, to say drawers, drawers, in Spanish, you have to say cajones. Cajones. Now, to say shelf, okay, this is like singular. In Spanish, you have to say repisa. Repisa. Okay, now if you want to say shelves in plural form, then you have to say in Spanish repisas. Okay, you just have to add an S at the end, okay, in the plural form. Repisas, plural, repisa, singular. Now the next word we have it's fridge, okay, or refrigerator. In Spanish, to say this, you have to say like the large form, refrigerador, okay, which means refrigerator, refrigerador. But also you can use a contraction, okay, as in English, you can say fridge. In Spanish, the contraction would be refri, refri. Now, if you want to say sink, okay, sink, in Spanish, you have to say fregadero, fregadero. All right, now the next word we have, it's dish rack, okay, or dish drainer. If you want to say this, in Spanish, you have to say escurridor de platos. Escurridor de platos. All right, now if you want to say gloves to wash the dishes, okay, gloves to wash the dishes. In Spanish, you have to say guantes, okay, this means gloves to wash, para lavar, the dishes. Los trastes. Now, if you want to say dishwasher, dishwasher in Spanish, you have to say lavavajillas. Lavavajillas. Now, if you want to say liquid soap for the dishes, liquid soap for the dishes, in Spanish, you have to say jabón líquido para trastes. Jabón líquido, okay, which means liquid soap for the dishes, para trastes, okay? Jabón líquido para trastes. All right, now if you want to refer to the sponge you use for washing the dishes, then you have to say fibra para trastes, okay? Fibra para trastes. All right, now if you want to say waste basket or trash can, in Spanish you have to say bote de basura, okay? This means trash can or waste basket. Bote de basura. Bote de basura. Now, if you want to say trash bag, okay, trash bag in Spanish, you have to say bolsa de basura. Bolsa de basura. Now, if you want to say tablecloth, okay, tablecloth in Spanish, you have to say mantel. mantel. All right, now if you want to say napkins, in Spanish you have to say servilletas. Servilletas. To say apron in Spanish, you have to say delantal. Delantal. To say holder, okay, the holder you use for picking up the stuff that is like super hot, then in Spanish you have to say agarradera. Agarradera. If you want to say mop, in Spanish you have to say trapeador. Trapeador. To say broom, in Spanish you have to say escoba. Escoba. Now if you want to say dustpan or picker, in Spanish you have to say recogedor. Recogedor. Now, if you want to call the stuff you use for cleaning the floor, here in Mexico we call that jerga. Jerga. Okay, it's the stuff you use for cleaning the floor. All right, now if you want to say microfiber towel, in Spanish you have to say toalla de microfibra. Toalla de microfibra. Okay, microfiber towel. If you want to say absorbent paper, in Spanish you have to say papel absorbente. Papel absorbente. Alright guys, so that would be all for today's lesson. I really hope it helped you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!